Martin Luther King bunched in the whites that fought for the freedom of black people with the evil whites that fought to conquer them. So he bunched them in by saying, whites, this is the group of whites, this is the group of Negroes. And he bunched them in. By saying whites, you are putting in the northern whites that fought and died to free slavery with the southern Democrats that were slave owners and fought to conquer the black people. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Uni Entity. Today we're going to be talking about racism does not exist. So here we go. Racism does not exist, cannot exist, and will not exist because humanity is one race. The only way anyone could ever divide a race is with hatred or evil or both. This is the secret sauce to dividing the races. In order to divide the human race and to say that we as a group of people no longer want to be a part of the human race, we want our own race, we want to be a part of the white race, or we want to be a part of the black race or the Latino race or the Asian race. It's almost like gang members. In other words, no more human race. We are now splitting up the human race into several races. Such a case is also known as negative proof or proof of impossibility. Have any of you ever heard of the proof of impossibility theorem or negative result? It biologically is not possible. A race of people that are biologically the same internally with the same emotions, the same intelligence, the same abilities, along with the same psychological senses, can never be divided. In other words, you can never say that you want to remove yourself out of the human race in the name of hatred or evil for any reason. You can never say that you do not want to be a part of the human race because you hate humans with black skin or you hate humans with white skin. Whatever excuse you give for removing yourself from the human race and trying to create your own race holds no validity whatsoever. Therefore, racism could never exist because there is no such thing as whites or blacks or Latinos or Asians or whatever. You can call it for what it really is, which is hatred and evil actions by specific individuals. You cannot hold that entire group of people by the color of their skin for what a particular group has done. In other words, if a group of white Southern Democrats enslaved people because of the color of their skin, you cannot blame the entire white population because of a group of people's behavior. By saying that those Southern white Democrats who enslaved the black population were racist, then you are also laying claim that all whites are racist because you're using race. So in other words, you're tying in white people into a race. Even the whites that fought and died to free the slaves during the Civil War would be bunched in with those evil conquerors, democratic conquerors that enslaved slavery. Today we have people that are still dividing the races by using this word racism and are laying claim that all white people owe reparations to the black slave descendants that are living today. To say this is absolutely absurd. The amount of mixing that has gone on since slavery means that every single person on planet Earth owes reparations. So do the descendants of the northern soldiers who fought and died to free the black population. Do they also owe reparations? Where is the line drawn? So Is the division of the human race solidified? Are we no longer one race? Are we divided into several races? This is absurd, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely absurd. I have mentioned the radical race hustlers in my last video, and I must put Martin Luther King Jr. in that category, and I'll explain why. Whenever anyone talks about Martin Luther King, they talk about leadership. They say that he fought for the rights of black people during the civil rights. What if I were to tell you that he was a part of the radical race hustlers who fought to divide humanity and not to unite humanity? For those of you who claim that Dr. Martin Luther King was all about not judging someone based on the color of their skin, but the moral of their character, what if I were to say they were wrong? 4 days later, after that speech was made, the I Have a Dream speech, Martin Luther King Jr. said, and I quote, "A society who has done something against the Negro for hundreds of years must now do something special for the Negroes." So what he's saying is that the Negroes were a race. He divided humanity into the races. He fell for what the white Southern Democrats were doing when they were trying to conquer black people. So they segregated themselves to say, we are white people, yous are Negroes. And he fell for that. And he used the word Negroes almost in all his speeches. And in other words, he laid claim that we were not one race. We were a segregated race. He is segregating and contradicting his previous speech 4 days earlier. Here is my theory. He wrote that speech for blacks to be treated like everyone else. However, he was also a firm believer in segregation. And let me even be more clear. He wanted equality. However, he also wanted to separate the human race by laying claim to the so-called Negro. And I say so-called Negro the same way Malcolm X said the so-called Negro, because he said the so-called Negro because he did not believe that black people were Negroes, and neither do I. Martin Luther King also said 4 days before he was killed that this country never stops to realize that they owe people kept in slavery for 240 years. Now, do you also tie in the white Northerners who fought to free slavery from the evil Southern Democrats? I mean, do they owe reparations as well? I mean, what I'm saying, do those white soldiers that fought and died in the Civil War to free the slaves, do they owe the blacks who were freed? Or do the blacks owe the white Northern soldiers who died and fought for their freedom, do they owe them? I mean, I think about it, and it's just so ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. Martin Luther King bunched in the whites that fought for the freedom of black people with the evil whites that fought to conquer them. So he bunched them in by saying, whites, this is the group of whites, this is the group of Negroes. And he bunched them in. He put by saying whites, you are putting in the Northern whites that fought and died to free slavery with the Southern Democrats that were slave owners and fought to conquer the black people. And I always thought, is this really a man worth following? This is someone we should look up to as a human. I mean, I'm sick and tired because it is political ladies and gentlemen. Nothing more, nothing less. It is people who join their conquerors who are making these claims that all white people are evil and that all white people owe black people for slavery that was held by their white Southern Democratic conquerors of the Democratic Party. I mean, the way I look at it, these are the true Uncle Toms of America. I can't name names when I'm talking about people today because they'll sue the living crap out of me and Uni Entity as they have done in the past. So I'm just going to say they are daytime talk show hosts. I'm allowed to say that. Or wannabe comedians. They are the ones responsible for dividing the races in 2024. It's going to take many years before people can finally awaken from this slumber of hatred and evil conducted by these Democrats of today. And they come in all colors, ladies and gentlemen. All colors. And they come from all over the world, too. We have a long uphill battle, my friends, from people realizing that the human race is one race, not the white race or the black race or any other race. One race, the human race. The Southern Democratic slave owners started the white race. The radical race hustlers started the black race. You know, and so on and so forth. You know, believe it or not, whites and blacks gave the Asians their race by calling them Asians. It's like we're a bunch of gangs that are at each other's throats. They have created an us versus them mentality in order to keep us at odds with one another and to keep everyone in the state of mind of victimhood. Remember, nobody can ever evolve or move forward in life while in the state of mind of victimhood. It doesn't matter that we are the same biologically. It doesn't matter we have the same emotions, the same feelings, the same everything except skin color. It doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen. This crap is what was sold to humanity, and humanity bought it. And these so-called races has passed this crap down from generation to generation, and the sons and daughters and grandsons and granddaughters believed it, and they still believe it. And if you're saying that humanity is divided into several races, and you do not want any part of the human race, you want to be a part of the white race or the black race or the Latinos or the Asians, you can never lay claim to the human race, ever. Ever. You'll always be in the state of mind of us versus them, always. This is the state of mind of victimhood, ladies and gentlemen. The radical race hustlers used the fact that people hated one another in the 1960s and the 1970s because of the different color of the skin. Then they were supposed to call it what it was: human hatred, human evil. The word racism absolutely divides the human race. And as long as we believe in the existence of this word, we will never be one as a race of people. We will always have this division that was created by the Southern white Democrats and the black radical race hustlers of the 1960s and the 1970s. I'll give you the same analogy that I give to everyone. If you had a spaceship and you were able to travel to another planet, and you were able to reach out your hand and shake the hand of the leader of that planet, are you going to say, "Hi, I'm a Caucasian from New York," or "Hi, I'm a black person from California," or "I'm a Latino from South America"? Or are you going to say that you are a human from planet Earth? Are you going to represent the human race, or are you going to represent the division of the human race that has been given to you by the radical race hustlers and the white Southern Democrats of the 1960s and the 1970s. If you said that you would have said that you are a human from planet Earth, then you can never ever say that racism exists. You need to call it for what it is, ladies and gentlemen, evil and hatred from a specific group of people, which at that time were Southern Democrats. You can't say that white people represented slavery because a group of white slavers participated in slavery, because then you are tying in the Republican white people that fought and died to emancipate the slaves from slavery with the white Southern Democrats who were set out to conquer them. How is that fair to tie in the emancipators with the conquerors? That's what you're doing when you say that the whites were responsible for slavery, because they weren't. The Southern Democrats were responsible for slavery. If a group of people commit an evil act who gives anyone the right to lay claim that everyone from that color skin is responsible for that evil act. I mean, what about the other half of the country at the time who fought to stop this evil act? Remember, when this was going on in the 60s and 70s, you had half the country fighting to stop it. Even during the Civil War, you had half the country fighting to stop slavery while the other South was fighting to keep it. I mean, I'll give you a different analogy. Let's say you were a person of color, and a white person came up to you to rob you. And in that robbery, the white person stabbed you. However, another white person came along and beat the living hell out of the white person that stabbed you and tied him up so that the police can throw him in jail. You heal up, you go home, you tell the story to your family. Are you going to tell your family that you were robbed by a white man and another white man saved your life? Why? Why would you do that? Why should another person's skin come into what actually happened? Or are you just going to say that a man robbed you and another man saved you, saved your life? By laying claim to the color of someone's skin, you are tying the evil white man with the white hero by putting them both in the same category of what you are calling the white race. People of color have long been advocating for equality and fairness in society, being that they do not want to be judged by the color of their skin. However, the irony lies in the fact that many people of color themselves may be guilty of judging others based on the color of their skin. This hypocrisy undermines the very message they're trying to convey, that humanity is one race and should never be divided or judged by the color of one's skin. If people of color truly do not want to be judged by the color of their skin, then it is imperative that they also refrain from judging others in the same manner. By holding themselves to the same standard that they expect from other people, people of color can lead by example and contribute to the creation of a more united society. It is only through awareness and empathy that we can break free from the shackles of this made-up word, racism. A white person who hates a black person is a hateful, evil person. A black person who hates a white person is a hateful, evil person. An Asian person who hates both people, and black people, white people, they aren't racist. They're evil people. Hateful and evil people. That person is simply hateful and evil. The day we allow the human race to be broken up into several races is the day we're never going to unite as a race of humans. We will always be stuck in the state of mind of victimhood. If you are a black person and you have a white spouse, or the other way around, if you are a white person with a black spouse, then you have mixed children. Are you going to teach them that humanity is not one race? Are you going to teach them that we are a division of races? Then you are setting them up to be doomed. They can never unite with the rest of the world with division as a mentality. They too will be in a constant state of mind of victimhood. And they're being set up to fail from the start because they're being lied to from the start. How can a child succeed when they are being told that humanity is not one race of people? The only way anyone could ever lay claim to the word racism is if every single white person, or every single black person, or any color of people have the same hatred and evil. All of them have to have the same hatred and evil in order for that word to exist. This is the only way that you can ever divide the human race. Everyone from that color must feel the same way. And notice I didn't call them a race of people. I called them people. If you have a planet with purple people and blue people, and they are both biologically the same, and the only difference was their skin color, then they are one race of people. If you have 10 purple people and 2 hate blue people, you can't call all purple people racist. What about the other 8 purple people who doesn't hate the blue people? Is it fair to them to divide the race? I hope and pray that you are getting where I'm coming from. If there is only a small group of the white population that are evil and hateful and are committing such evil and hateful acts, then you cannot tie in the good white people with the bad white people. It is wrong, and it is what's causing the division in this world we live in. And it's what has caused everyone to use words such as racism. It has caused white people to feel as if they are responsible for the evil doings of the previous white people in the past. This is going on in North Korea today. If one person in North Korea is arrested for a crime, that person's entire family and future generations must also be imprisoned with them. Imagine, their prisons have little children that hasn't done anything, yet they have to pay for the crime of their ancestors. It's even worse in America because many of the southern slave owners aren't even ancestors to white Americans today. Until we as humans come to the understanding that we are all humans and are part of the same human race, we can never unite, ever. Until we can overcome that we are not white, we are not black, we are not Latino, Asian, etc. We can never unite as a species. The very first step to uniting is to abolish this word racism and call it for what it actually is: hatred and the evil doings of a particular group of people. To call that evil group white or black or any other color simply isn't fair to the other white or black or any other color people that aren't involved in the hatred or the evil doings. It groups in people who do not belong in that evil group. I am human. They are human. We are human. Every person is responsible for their own actions. I do not want to take responsibility for the hateful evil doings of someone else simply because they have the same color skin as I do, and I'm sure you don't want to take the responsibility for someone else's evil doings that has the same color skin as you have. I love the human race, and I have way too much respect to allow anyone to buy into that crap that was sold in the 1960s and 70s, that humanity is divided because they say so. Let's fight the evil and the hatred together. Together we can beat anything. By acknowledging and celebrating our differences rather than judging them, we can work towards a more united society for all. By working towards a more united society, we can move towards a future where all people are treated with dignity and respect regardless of the color of their skin, and end the division of the human race once and for all, and to accept that we as humans are one race, not a division of races. Life is all about good and evil, ladies and gentlemen, kind or unkind, good or bad. We are a united society, and we as a united society must oust all individuals who misuse and manipulate the word racism. Dividing a race within our universe is absurd, especially when that race is biologically the same like the human race is. The radical race hustlers and the victimhood salesmen achieved this impossible task of dividing an entire race and getting away with it. And we as a species and as a race of humans has fallen for it. And it will take years for humanity to realize what they have done and to let it go. I'm going to end this video by saying what I always say after each video. I love all humans because I know that each human soul was created by the entity. And if each soul was created by God, then it must be pure. We as humans have a responsibility to one another and to the human race. We are responsible. We must respect one another and live amongst one another and collect as many memories and experiences to share with all for eternity. I bid you a farewell. I wish happiness for all of you. Good day to all of my Uni Entity members. If you want to watch more videos just like this, YouTube has an algorithm. So when you press a thumbs up that says you like the video, and they will allow you to watch future videos. When you subscribe, that helps me to release more videos. Don't forget to ring the bell as well. I look forward to making more videos for all of you wonderful humans, and I wish you to have a wonderful day. Good day.